took care of that.
Yeah.
And to that contact.
I could not track any of those pictures down, but the murder mysteries did come up in my memory.
I might do whatever with you.
I know what first order.
I don't know where in the world I found it.
Yeah. They were good ones. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is 4:30, so I'd ask that you please stand, join me for a moment of silence, and then we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could have a roll call, please.
Brad Hand.
Here.
Tom Eggers.
Here.
Pete Hamill.
Here.
Chantel Ostra.
Here.
Jeff Wagner.
Next item 2, is the approval of the agenda. I'll take a motion for that, please.
Move to approve the agenda.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Eggers.
Aye.
Hand.
Aye.
Ostra.
Aye.
Hamill.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Now reach the public forum portion of our meeting. Is there anyone here that wishes to address the council at this time? Nothing, any written comments?
None.
Okay, then we'll move on. I need approval for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Hamill.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Ostra.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Hand.
Aye. All right, first item up under old business is recycling. I'm going to let you take the chair, take the floor from here, for a little bit. Sam, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So linked to the agenda are several ordinance options. These have not been vetted by our city attorney. These were written by me based on the old ordinance and what I'm seeing around the state. So you really have several options today. If you want, you could just skip number 3 and talk first relating to the community recycling container, which is where you left off. But those 2 ordinances could be prepared for first reading and brought back at a future meeting in February or March.
Okay. What is your desire today, council? Any comments at this time? Questions?
I'm not sure what we're asking here. I'm a little confused by the 2. The first one is on the recycling and the...
Well, I might.
Yep.
So for number 1, you have the potential amendment, which is linked down below, draft new ordinance. You could simply offer a motion to move forward with getting that ready to come forward for first reading, or you could combine it in a larger motion and address other issues at the same time.
Those other issues being what? Potentially.
Well, you have the question of the recycling container, whether it stays or it goes, who participates in the cost of the dumping of that. I'm talking about the big community recycling container.
Yep. Okay.
Also, for if we order the cans, if they're ordered by DeCrife through the city, and then the cans come back to DeCrife and are paid for to DeCrife, that'd be one way to do it. There'd be another option, probably not desirable for the clerk's office, but another option would be to run the payments and the organization more through the clerk's office, but that's not how it was done previously. So there's several facets to this. And then also, if you want to require cans for everyone, including those who don't recycle, then that would be the time to discuss that too.
Okay.
So I'm confused, like always. There was
Jeff,
also
could you
the
get a little
ordinance
closer to the mic so we?
Yep.
we don't-
I'm confused like always, but there was the ordinance on recycling contents and garbage, right?
Mhm.
And that is number, not the first one?
Well, that's the first.
There's illegal dumping draft new ordinance.
And so then,
I'm in favor of that. I think that any recycling thing, and I'd like to move that forward, that ordinance you proposed, however we would do that. I think for any kind of recycling we want to do, we've got to make sure people aren't continuing to put garbage in with that recycling container. And that basically, from my reading and understanding, it just says we're saying it's illegal to put garbage in with the recycling container, either at your curbside or at the roll-off. And put some teeth with it that says, hey, if you put garbage in with your recycling, this is how we're going to handle it. Because we're now going to the point of saying, okay, we have to have a container. It's going to be a lot easier for people to put anything they want to into that garbage can and allow them to get rid of excess garbage through recycling, which is not the intent of that. So I think number one is pretty straightforward, and I don't know how to move that forward, but I'd like to propose we move that forward. So I'd make that motion, or what do I need to do?
You can make that as a motion,
Yeah, I'd
yes.
make that as a motion.
Okay. All right, so the motion is for approving the ordinance, which would amend the code of ordinances pertaining to illegal dumping. Okay,
so would that be the first reading? Do we have to?
well, right now we just have to
Has
move
to
it
be
forward,
reviewed by
get
Micah.
it reviewed, and it would come back again at another time.
Gotcha.
But the motion is to move that forward to the next step, basically.
Okay.
Do we have support for that?
I will support that.
Okay, any other discussion on that?
One more thing, if I might.
Yeah.
And it might, and just reading it on the fly here, Jeff, it might need to be cleaned up a little bit because the focus is more in the way I wrote it on the community container and not putting garbage in your own recycling can. And way I'm understanding your intent of your motion is you would like that in there too, which makes sense. So if that's okay with you and the seconder, that's how Micah and I will proceed.
Yes. So it's more the concept of you're moving to move it forward in concept, not necessarily word for word as it's
Right.
presented here today.
Correct.
Okay. Any other comments along that line?
Timing to be worked out, I assume.
Yeah. So. All right, then I'm going to call for the question. Go ahead, roll call, please.
Hamel,
Aye.
Ostra,
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Hint.
Aye. All right. So then the smaller two-letter I's, consider moving forward with updating the ordinance to direct recyclable items that are placed curbside. That would be the next item up. And that container, that is the last item then, correct, in this list of attachments under that subpoint?
It is, but there are some other items that you could discuss too, but if I could take a moment to discuss this ordinance draft, the second one.
Yep.
So I'd like to thank Brad Hint for bringing this to my attention. But this seems to be a pretty simple amendment to 105.09 on waste storage containers. And it simply changes out each container must at a minimum, it just makes it clear that it requires to be able to pick up curbside and what the sizes could be.
It basically matches the residential garbage container size.
That makes sense.
And then that way, tomorrow how he wants to enforce it, now he wants to deal with the can issue.
Okay.
Which I think is out of our hands. That should be up to him, how he wants to handle that. This is just saying just like we did with the garbage cans.
This does have a penalty section in it, but there was before. So
I'm slightly confused here because this is only for garbage, right?
No, this is
No,
for
this is
recycling.
recycling.
Because it says waste storage containers. That's, and Mark also proposed 95-gallon option.
Yeah, and that's listed.
The item 1 there, it's for
Look down in
garbage
B,
and
Jeff.
recycling. It applies to both.
we could probably clean up the title when we move it forward. It's always had that title with residential recycling in it. We're just adding a sentence to the residential recycling paragraph.
I think the direction of it is proper, and I agree with Brad. I think commonality between that and garbage makes a lot of sense. So,
Say that last part, the last,
I'm just saying that it makes a lot of sense that it has commonality with the garbage.
oh, yeah.
So we're not doing two different things here. So I guess I'd make motion to accept this.
Move
as
it forward in the same manner as what we just did with the other one.
Pardon me?
Moving it forward as we did with the other one. To
Correct.
that next step.
Yep.
Okay.
Support.
All right, we have a motion, we have support. Are there any other questions or comments? I'm going to save my comment on that for item 3 under there for the next discussion. If there are no more regarding this, take roll call, please.
Hint.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Ostra.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Okay, moving on, the other possible action related to recycling, example, the community recycling container. Since we're implementing this, requiring it, do we want to incentivize this in some way? Whether it's $10 off in the first 30 days after the implementation, or
That's up to Mark.
do we want to help Marks incentivize this in some way?
We didn't with the garbage cans.
You know, it's a $10 off on your next month's garbage bill or something like that. I know we haven't done it before, but it's a new step, and so we want people to do it, given the fact that half the community is not recycling, and we would desire, I think, that they do so. That's another reason I'm asking about incentivizing it in some way, shape, or form.
So we're incentivizing the purchase of a can?
Yes,
Okay. And if I've already have a can, then I just paid the full price.
you paid full price, you missed out, but yes. Just like lot purchases, if we at some point we want to move them, we incentivize them. Just a thought?
I guess I've made my feelings pretty clear on this. I'd rather see the $6,000 a year that we're paying for dumping the roll-off. If we're going to spend that money, let's do it with some kind of incentivization of curbside. And helping them with cans would be a good way to promote that. The reason I don't think the city should be subsidizing the roll-off is because it's counter to what we're passing today, which is we want people to do it curbside. And if we have a roll-off, they don't have to do it curbside. They can go dump it for no cost whatsoever. So we're kind of defeating what we're trying to do with the curbside initiative. So it's this may just be my opinion, but I think if we're going to spend $6,000 annually, then I would subsidize the cans and get more people to do it curbside.
I think I had a conversation with Mark yesterday that he said if we did these cans, he would dump that recycling container for no charge moving forward. Is that correct, Mark?
Twice a week, yes.
Twice a week.
So most of you have got a piece of paper from me that outlines the conversation I had with Mark. And I think everybody has. And I think that that's outlined in the conversation. DeCraft agrees to dumping the roll-off twice a week or more at peak times, meaning Christmas time. He would take it a third time if it's full because of the holiday schedule problems. And that would all be at DeCraft's expense. There would be no 6,000 going forward when we implement this law. Boom, done. So we're going to save the 6,000. I understand what you're saying about trying to encourage people to do curbside recycling, but I think our bigger question is just getting people to recycle and giving them whatever option they want, whether it is to take to the curb or take it up to DeCraft drop spot now at no cost to the city. As I've had people come to me, they keep talking about the fact of how often they go to the roll-off and it's full, and they have to go make multiple trips back there in order to drop it off. And so I don't know how we get rid of the roll-off without making it more of a burden and people putting recycling into their garbage, because they're going to be like, I'm not going to keep this for 3 months until I can get all my recycling out in that can I have, and I don't want to buy a second can or a third can. So I don't know that that's really I understand where you're coming from there, but I don't understand why we would want to get rid of the roll-off if it doesn't cost us anything.
I just think that we should quit subsidizing.
Oh, we are. With this agreement with Mark,
roll-off.
what he's proposed, we don't subsidize the roll-off at all on day one. So basically, we're just saying, hey, you got to buy cans, 35, 65, or 95. I looked up the can prices that Mark proposed, and then I compared them with Uline. If you bought the same cans from Uline, and Uline, they're almost twice as much as what Mark's proposing charging us for those same cans. So he's not making a buttload of money by selling these cans by any means. He's also agreed to get the cans, put the cans together, and deliver the cans, store the cans and deliver the cans to the homeowners when they want it. He had at one point asked the city if they would do the billing of the can costs so he doesn't have to handle that part of it. And Sam and I talking about it, Sam suggested maybe that was a lot of work for the city to do. So if you wanted to subsidize those cans, my suggestion is maybe allowing the people to pay to the city instead, which would allow them to use credit cards in order to pay that instead of having to write a check in the work of that part of it or put it in their bill.
Because everybody uses debit cards nowadays.
Yeah. So that could be our participation in that part of it. Marcus said that the cans, he would buy those and store them. And that we don't need a can. If you want to use your old can for garbage for recycling, also you can use the same can for both. You just can't put garbage in the recycling time. So we're not forcing anybody to buy a can in order to recycle. And Mark has also suggested that so I think we've covered the concerns we have about it. We have a time frame of when we would implement this, how quickly. Mark had suggested August 1st as a change in it. I think that's too long.
Well, it's going to depend on how long it takes to get that many cans, and, I have no clue.
Yeah, we're talking about 400 cans at this point. There's 400 people that aren't using a can. Right, Mark?
I thought you had mentioned there was 900 who were not participating in recycling.
That's correct. 400 are using cans, 400 are not, and the rest aren't recycled.
Are there still,
Okay.
are there still a lot of people that are using the old real small cans that you can't, you can't pick those up, can you?
No, I do it all by hand.
So they're going to have to get a new can.
Right. And that's the 400 that are recycling without the big cans.
Okay.
And 400 are recycling with big cans. And the rest.
I'm just saying there's going to be a substantial number of people that are going to have to, so I don't know what,
No, I
I don't know what your time frame is going to be. We're going to have to be sensitive to that.
So the August date is a cutoff date or a start date? In terms of having your can in place and whatnot? Mhm.
Well, the start date would be as soon as you could have cans. The cut date would be August 1st. It will no longer accept anything that's not in a can.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
Okay. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you get those other 900 customers to recycle, Tom.
I don't either, but if we were going to incentivize, that's where we'd want to get the gain, would be in those.
I don't think you'll get them to recycle.
And we got a number of people that just do that instead. So there's people recycling now through the roll-off instead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mind if I ask a question on the billing? Can you clarify one more time your intent on how the billing would work?
I'm just asking if we were to incentivize something, it would be to allow the people to pay through the city for the cans. Mark does very little billing now. And so for him to take 400 to 1,500 additional billing processes to get the rest of the cans out could be a undertaking. And instead of getting so when you want to incentivize the cans, I'm suggesting we incentivize by handling the billing process if that's the way people want to pay.
Your thoughts on that, Angie?
I think that would be a large undertaking for our office. I guess my question is, why would it be any different than the way that we did garbage cans? It was up to the people. The garbage cans were required. They could purchase them at Downtown Hardware. They could purchase them at Baumgart's. They could purchase them through their hauler. It just had to have the required lid, the arm bar, and the wheel.
Okay. But that was a request that Mark made? Is that correct, that the city bill for it?
I asked if that was possible, yes.
Okay. So it's a little bit of the bartering process. We're going back and we're give and take. If we do that for him, he'll do the dumping of the recycle bin for twice a week for no cost to the city. So
there's no barter in that. He's agreed to all the terms.
yeah,
Outside of
I'm
the
saying
terms
he's offered
asked.
that.
Yeah.
Well, then, and he's asking for this. Well, can,
I just asked if the town buy the cans from the city or from me, because they're a heavy duty can, they're heavier, they won't blow over as easy. Plus, they're a lot cheaper than farm store or wherever you can go to get them.
Mhm.
I asked if you're gonna buy a can, please buy one of the good heavy duty ones.
Okay.
That don't blow over so bad.
My recommendation is
Sam's got the floor here.
No,
Yes.
it's okay. You go ahead.
My recommendation is we ask Sam and the attorney to write up some kind of motion outlining the things we've had here. And in the future, as we get more details, see if there's anything we can do to facilitate some billing process, if it works or not. But I don't think that needs to be tied into the steps we're trying to accomplish here.
Okay. So we'll work up a motion or resolution and bring it back a
Yeah.
meeting in the near future. Mind if I ask Mark a question?
Mm.
So I know we don't get into regulating colors of things very often, but all the old Schwartz recycle cans are blue. Blue is considered one of the universal colors for recycling. So my question to you is, what do we need to get, if people buy their own cans, we need to regulate the color, because otherwise you run into a situation if somebody has left their can out for too long and it's got garbage in it, but it looks like a garbage can. I can see that creating problems for you and for us with enforcement. So I just sprung that on you, so you don't need to answer it right now unless you're ready to answer it, but I think that's an issue we need to work through, don't you?
I was gonna order all blue cans, but I can
All blue.
order green ones or whatever color you want.
You just think about it. I don't know if that's an issue, but a lot of the Schwartz recycle cans or the Schwartz regular garbage cans were blue.
I don't know how
Yeah.
to do that.
Put stickers or something.
Yeah.
It'll work out.
Okay. There is no motion, really, this last step. These last steps are just suggestions, and you guys can run with
I
it.
think I have enough to work with.
Okay? All right, let's move on then to new business. Item 6A, consider moving the budget workshops to February. Because of the time crunch and whatnot that came up just kind of in the last little while here. Any comments you want to make to that?
Yeah, just to point out, I fixed it on the agenda, and if you refresh, you can see the correct typing there. But I meant to say February 9 and 10 is the second option, but 2 and 3 seem to work for most everyone. But
So we,
Monday, Tuesday,
Tuesday and Wednesday.
so it's 3, 4, and 10, 11.
Is it 3, 4, and 10, 11? I'm sorry.
do we run into something that we can't make next week work?
The time factor right now, they're pulling big numbers together and it's getting kind of tight.
We can make it work. It would be easier if I just, when I'd mentioned it to you the other day, it was more in the context of next year. We have more time because state code changed to allow the filing to be the end of April rather than the end of March. There's 2 of you that suggested, which Angie and I liked, what if we look at it for this time? So that's why we are having this discussion. We can make it work, but we can certainly move it, and it would make things easier.
Personally, I like the idea. Oh, who's going to say?
You have a lot of people that, department heads and other partners amongst the city that kind of have next week already planned out. I know we can change it, but that's just my 2 cents on it. It doesn't make me a bit of difference what we do, but I'm just saying you've got it planned and you've got people that are penciled in next week already, and
I would speak in favor of the 3 and 4, just because it eliminates one more night of having to be at city, conducting the business of the city. Anyone else?
I'm with Brad. The sooner we can do it, the better, just to give, there's a lot of processes. If you're going to combine the city council meeting and the budget hearing, I've got a conflict on Monday, is why the other thing I have to reschedule that.
It's not a Monday, it's Tuesday.
It'd be
Sorry.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
So,
We ran to serve the needs of the community, and so I understand the efficiency, but effectiveness is also a concern on it, so.
any other ones?
I would say if it helps prepare, let's switch it to the 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
Make that our
One side of
standard.
that is going to have to make a motion so we can.
I'll make a motion that we change the date of the budget workshops to February 3rd and 4th.
And the 4th would be piggybacked on with our normal, regular council meeting.
Okay?
so then you're going to extend the council meeting an hour longer. The
No, we're
budget
gonna go-
hearing's going to go another hour
The
longer.
idea was put forward that it be just a consent agenda council meeting that night, and that'll be bing bang done. So we have a motion. Do we have support for that?
I'm just trying to figure out the reasoning. Is there some compelling reason that we want to move it?
I think it started because of some of the stuff that was coming in terms of getting everything ready. Is that correct?
It is. It's in terms of getting things ready. It's in terms of the closed session that we're having tonight. If what I've got plugged into the budget is not what the council wishes, then the wage and benefits will all be
Okay.
not correct next week, or I won't be able to get it to you like tomorrow or Friday.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So that's,
I think it just gives
That's a reason.
additional time for
Yeah.
planning.
We'll still aim to have everything good to go next week, so it gives you plenty of time to review. We just want to make sure that we're giving you the right information correctly, I guess.
well, I'm reading that as that you would prefer that we move it.
I would.
Support?
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Ostra,
Aye.
Hamel,
Aye.
Eggers,
Aye.
Kent,
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. Moving on then to our reports. First person up here is the former mayor of Sheldon, Miss Tricia Mainry. Good to see you.
I just didn't want to be up here and use my phone. Hello, and
Hi.
thank you for allowing me to come up and speak to you. I'll be rather quick. I believe you have my report before you. Sam, I think did you share that? Did I send it to you in
It's
time?
linked, yep.
Wonderful, thank you. So I just continue to use the same format we have over the years. So your first page just shows overall the number of events we have held since we've opened. And the bottom graph just shows you how many of those events were wedding related. So this past year we had 184 events with 65 were wedding related. We are up compared to last year. And then the next page gives you the specifics for the calendar year of 2025. As you can see, how we break those out into wedding related, what is school, corporate, social, hosted are events that we personally hold at the pavilion, and nonprofit events as well as complimentary. Complimentary events are anything to do with the city, the county, the SCDC, any government-related type things. So elections, ladies' night out with the SCDC, and then our bridal fairs, things like that. So we had 184 events booked, but in 160 days, we do have multiple events in one day. We have 3 full-time staff now as of July 1st. Oops, I'm jumping forward. My apologies. I've included in there because, Tom, we've talked before. You've asked, well, how many could you do? So working and talking with Wayne, we thought, how can we put together some kind of way to gauge the number of days, the number of rooms, and the number of hours? So someday maybe we'll have what is our potential and compared to just telling you how many events we have. I'm not tech savvy in building a program to see what that would look like. I have a dry erase board and I fill in, or I use paper to see where we're at. But we are looking at that to see how we can gauge what are the possibilities based on number of days, hours, and how many rooms that we can break up.
So would that include your comment about adding Mondays?
Yes. So we are booking events now. We do not have scheduled office hours. I'm usually there for a short time on Mondays, just to see how it's been working with with the third full-time coming in. It's alleviated some stress, especially over the holidays. During December, we were very busy. So it was kind of nice to not have those 60, 65-hour work weeks and have a little more 45, maybe 50 during the busy time. But yes, we promote that we do take events on Mondays, and we do have bookings coming on Mondays.
Okay.
So
I look forward to seeing what you come up with.
yeah, I'm curious too to see, I think it's going to take us a good it's going to take us 9 to 12 months to see, like right now what we have. I'll get into that. Let me do that. I'll try to stay a little focused.
Thanks for addressing it.
Yeah, no problem. So anyway, I like to keep in mind how many times our janitorial staff and then part-time staff is there on days we don't have events. We have 253 days that we are working event-related things, whether it's cleaning, setting up, or event execution. That's not office days. That's event-related days that people are there. I gave you the timeline again, what it takes to set up, etc., for wedding and corporate, if you care to read through that. Then getting into our staff, 3 full-time as of July 1, 33 part-time. We have some that are seasonal, some that are regular, and some that are the old goats that are there every time we have an event, and we are very thankful for those. Our hosted events, each year we work with the Ministerial Association, and we have their community church service on Super Bowl Sunday. Now that the Bears are not playing, I will be there the whole time. It's okay. But with that, the community choir joins in too. That's a hint for you, Mayor, that if you and Starla would like to join.
I'm sorry. I thought about it hard.
It's okay. Just like to bend your ear a little bit.
Yep.
We had a couple of new things this past year. A local bank partnered with us in offering a fraud workshop. We had 3 different breakout sessions. And then some of the local DJs had a production showcase. They needed open space and sound, so we partnered up with them too to see if we could make that happen. And it was interesting watching the walls shake. Let's see. Survey results. This year too, some of our results are not just the view of interior, exterior, the location, accommodation, staff, but also the staff and our services offered. And that's our different gold and silver packages where we have our staff hands-on. So it's nice that when we send out a survey and people select that and have compliments with our part-time staff, it really makes a difference. They really do good work and in some wonky hours sometimes. Now, future bookings. When I did this report, we have 170 already booked for 2026. That is more since I did this report. In 27, we have more than 6 reserved now, and 28, we have 3, and 29, we have some holds. We only take payment reserved reservations, I should say, 2 years out, but our usuals, annual events, we will put those on hold, such as with the village, and then we have a list of people that are there every year, so we know to keep their dates held for them. So with that, Tom, and with our third person, right now what we see is in our calendar that's booked, a lot of it was already ahead of time. So I think we'll see the true effect of that third person come a 9 to 12 months in of having her on staff and building on more of those Mondays and then additional events that we can take. And then one example with having that third full-time, we had 3 events booked the first weekend of December, and we had other requests come in, and we were able to accommodate that last minute just because having a third person and being able to switch the rooms out and clean in between. So that first week of December was really busy with us, but we were able to accommodate those last minute requests because we had that person with us. Okay, turning to page 4. Capital improvement plan, you are fully aware of that, hopefully. You know that the storage, the need for storage in a building structure is moving forward into the next capital improvement year and budget season. We do have Beck Engineering coming on Friday to give us some ideas of what they think might be the best place for storage. Technology updates, we are out of date, and once you update it, you'll be out of date again, but we did put that into our capital improvement. Wall coverings, patio upgrade, etc. And then my notes, Crossroads 2.0, an opportunity for a master plan. Meeting with Tim, who did our strategic planning. He helped to gauge some of this vision of what more we can be. So we're going to move forward from the steady as she goes into intentional business practices, being better at our business, implementing some of the dreams and visions we have instead of just talking about it. And then, so not just intentional with bookings business, but also the physical building and the grounds. So part of our capital improvement plan for fiscal year 29-30, the patio upgrade. We have a great building, we have great grounds, but if we can enhance those to increase maybe some more business or potential, why not look to see what those could be? And I think I had said this before, the Shores at Five Island and Emmitsburg, their patio is stunning. When you walk through it, when you're there physically and walk through it and then walk at our patio, there's potential to grow, which could increase some of our business exterior as well. So anyway, Crossroads 2.0 is something we're going to work on, being intentional with business, being intentional with planning, both the events, but also the physical building and our grounds. And that's also working along with our Pond Park Trail Committee that we meet with quarterly. And with that, we do have Friends of the Pavilion, a nonprofit group that is helping to secure funds for fun things that we might want to do. And then the Community Foundation of Sheldon also, we help gauge what that area can be defined, maybe developed in the future, and then possibly with some funds donated there too. How much time do I have? Just kidding. I'm pretty much done. Do you have questions for me at all?
I have a question for
Sure.
you. You go to any major venue, Is there thoughts of going cashless out there?
We have thought about that. That is very possible because
I
we
just
have
see you
thought
go
about it.
to
Right.
major events and you go to high school games, you gotta have
Right.
credit cards.
We have thought about that, but we've also thought about having an ATM at one time because people are always asking if we have cash. Just so you know, we keep 600 on cash. That's it in our facility. But you look at some of our events, like let's say the O'Brien County Sportsman's Banquet. They come in mostly with cash because there's going to be different auctions, silent auctions, and things they're going to bid on that's cash related. Our bar that night may be all cash and very little in credit card. I would dare look into that, and I don't know if it would affect us or not.
It's just a
Yeah.
thought question I've had. I've been out there and go to most places and venues like that. It's all becoming
All cards. Mm-hmm.
cashless.
Yep. The bummer of
And
a
it
card is
also,
you lose
you know,
3% of your sale. So cash is king.
Cost the business.
Right,
And
exactly.
90% of the people don't have cash.
Yeah. So today, we were just talking today about like our policies and procedures, our bar agreement, it says cash bar. So sometimes our clients think we only accept cash. So we're kind of tweaking that a little bit. But I would dare say many of our events, wedding events, and the social like banquet where there's a fundraiser are going to be cash. There's not a lot of card, cash or check. But interesting to look into.
I mean, it also eliminates other issues.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. So we will, as I look into other event centers, larger ones, a few of our board members said, let's see what they're doing that works even in bigger cities that we may be able to incorporate. Because with our new person, one of our goals in this Crossroads 2.0 is to have more community events, being intentional on offering more things, whether it's a cooking class, whether it's an entertainment, live music. We've got a few of those coming up. So as we check out what other event centers and maybe even in larger cities are doing, that could be a good question to pose as well, just to see where we're at with that. So absolutely. You're welcome. Any other questions?
3 quick questions.
3. Oh boy, Jeff. Number
184
1, go
events,
slow. What?
184 events, 11 complimentary, 29 school, and 8 hosted. Would those all be non-revenue events then?
Yes and no. So let's see. Hosted is ours.
Yep.
So if we have a bar event, that's where we're making the money from. Complimentary would be your elections. There's no money made when we have the elections come, but they
Not
do.
judgmental, I'm just curious
No.
as I look at this.
No, I'll gladly answer. So when the elections come, they set up, they tear down. We just have the building open. We have our regular office hours. We leave and lock the entire interior up, but the front door is still open for the public to come vote, and then we come back and lock. And then what was the other one? Hosted school. School is not a moneymaker either, but at the same time, they are there when we're there, other than like maybe prom or winter formal. But they have to set up and they have to tear down. So it doesn't cost us anymore. And I would say 99% of the time, their events are when we are in the office as well.
But it's fair to say 25% of our events are not revenue
Correct.
generating, which explains why it's got to be a government agency, government thing, because
Yes.
we don't have the money on those 25%. So the other question I had was on the consulting we're doing with Beck on possible changes.
Mhm.
I wasn't here for the earlier conversation. So what is the budget for expenditures with Beck on the next?
About 9 million. Just kidding. I know you're a paper. You're going to sell paper. So Sam and I joked about that. 9 million. We're going to have a suite, a
No, that's
second
not
floor.
the question. The question
So
is,
the question
how much do we budget to spend with Beck
Beck?
in investigating these?
Correct. I think it was 10,500 maybe. And we spent 9,800 for this year to come out for Beck to provide that scope of services.
And then we'll probably do the same thing next year as your plan?
Next year? No,
No
one
more
time.
Consulting? Okay.
Yep. So they come in, measure the whole building, ask what our needs were, wants were, and they will come back with some different ideas of a storage unit standalone building, possibly a storage unit connected, or maybe added on. Connected by having a standalone but an enclosed vestibule for access.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And your third question?
That was 3.
That was?
Mhm.
I missed one in between there. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
No, just a comment that I want to dovetail in here.
Sure.
I continue my search for another board member.
Mhm.
And it kind of reminds me of my dating days. I get a lot of no's.
So.
Anyway,
Yes.
I'm just going to throw this out there as a help wanted ad. If you are interested in serving on the pavilion board and being part of this exciting activity in town,
Yeah.
give me a holler.
Love to.
We're a
And-
fun crowd, so
We are. Mhm.
What's that?
we're a fun
I think
crowd.
we keep our meetings under an hour and,
So
yeah, so we can have interesting conversations. So thank you for that.
very good.
Thank you for letting me present. I appreciate it and your
Yep.
questions.
Thanks, Tricia. Yeah, leave that out.
That's an image I didn't want to see.
It's on public record, so whatever you want to do. Truth hurts. All right, let's move on to bonding capacity. Scott was with us today from D.A. Davidson. Welcome back.
Hi, good to be
The
back.
floor is yours.
All right. Good to see you all. Got a couple new faces, so always nice to get back to Sheldon. I've got a number of items I want to get over today, so Sam, help me kind of stay on track here if I overlook any of the items that we've discussed that we wanted to address here at tonight's council meeting. So first off, just a generic update on the city's debt capacity. So typically send around a sheet that looks a lot like this that you folks may have seen in years past and is updated now. Really the primary updates don't include any new thoughts in terms of other debt or financing plans, just updating what the city's valuation trend has looked like. So we try to forecast future valuation growth, but at this point now we've gotten January 1, 2025 values that are plugged in, which are applicable for the 26-27 year that you're budgeting for now. You experienced some pretty significant valuation growth year over year from 24 to 25 valuation years. City's total 100% actual valuation grew to $591 million. That means that the city's legal GO debt capacity or property tax debt is now approaching $30 million. Currently, the city has just a little over 11 million outstanding against that. After you make your next round of payments, June 1 of 2026, it'll be around $10 million outstanding. So that leaves about a 20 million, just short of $20 million gap. If we are to look at where you're going to sit going into the fiscal year 26-27 that you're budgeting for now. So I think here in a little bit, we'll talk about maybe possibility of adding some debt for some projects, but just wanted to kind of set the framework in terms of where you're at now relative to the constitutional debt limit that the state imposes through their code. Any questions on that?
So the 591 million,
Mhm.
how much of that was increase in assessed valuations? Do you know?
In terms of analyzing new valuation versus growth on existing valuation? I don't know the answer to that. No.
Any others? All right, let's move on.
Okay. So next on the agenda, looking at the refinancing of wastewater treatment plant revenue note. So some of you may recall back in 2017, 2018, the wastewater treatment plant was financed in two phases. One was with some GO debt early on in 2017, and then we came back in 2018, finished out the balance of the financing through a sewer revenue bond. Sewer revenue bond from 2018 was a 30-year amortization at the time, and we're coming up on the call date. So call date meaning the earliest time in which you can refinance or pay off those bonds. So you've got about 22 years remaining on that note. There's about $6.7 million on that note remaining. That is payable exclusively from revenues of the sewer fund, sewer utility, which has been operating in a fine condition. But given where current rates are, there is just an opportunity to save some money. So the idea here is you can either refinance that debt and keep your amortization exactly the same and buy down your payments, or you could shorten up your amortization and keep the payments the same. That's a little bit to your discretion, but if we just assumed that you did not change the amortization of your existing debt, projections look like there's around $450,000 of net savings benefit to the city by doing a refinancing given today's interest rates.
So what is the interest rate on that current note?
The average interest rate is 4.6% on the existing note.
Thank you.
So that 450,000 is the total for the 22 years?
Yeah,
Okay, so
right.
roughly 20-some thousand a year.
exactly.
So how much expense would it be into refinancing it?
I don't
Maybe
know
all
exactly because it's not
the
all
legal,
me, but yeah, exactly. You got legal, you've got rating agency, bond insurance, RPs, et cetera. Probably in the $175-ish thousand range. So when I talk about 450,000 of benefit too, that's net of those costs.
And then I would ask, what's the new rate going to be? Percentage.
Yeah, last I ran this on a 22-year amortization was around 4%, so dropping from 4.6 to 4%. Now, we're a ways from having this in executable format, so rates do change every day, whether it's because administrative policy.
What's been the trend? What's been the trend over the past 6 months?
Past 6 months has been lower rates. So both in terms of Fed action, so we hear that on the news when the Federal Reserve is going to lower interest rates. What does that mean for you? Well, all the Federal Reserve is changing is the overnight lending rate. So that's very extremely short-term lending window. That does drive rates lower, but when we're talking about a 22-year financing, it has less effect on it than you'd think. Now, that said, longer-term rates have come down some over the last 4 to 6 months as well. What will the trend be in 2026? I don't know. We've seen longer-term rates remain a bit sticky. Shorter-term rates have come down some in concert with what Fed activity has been.
So
Fed
an old
isn't really
rule of thumb.
projected to lower rates a
So
lot.
an old rule of thumb in residential refinancing is if it's a point lower
Yeah.
than what you got, it'll probably wash out or have some advantage. We're talking 0.6%.
Mhm.
Are we going to end up really saving anything?
Yeah, good question. So in public finance terms, the rule of thumb by GFOA, so Government Finance Officers Association, is to look for 3% net present value savings. So take your future savings and all the future years by doing the refinancing, apply a present value factor. That present value factor is typically what your cost of borrowing is today, and net that back into today's dollars and have that be at least 3% of the amount you're refinancing. So that would be kind of a goal or a threshold to analyze whether a refinancing is worthy of pursuing.
And that's fine. I mean, you can look at it however you want to look at it, but the bottom line is we're going to save any money.
Yeah, so this would be 4.5% net present value savings is what
Okay.
current projections look like. Whether you want to look at it in terms of the 450,000 in aggregate over the life of the loan, in present value terms, that's $303,000 or 4.5% of the amount you're refinancing. So again, it exceeds 3%. It's kind of why I'm here talking about it. But it's up to you whether you want to pursue it or not.
So in dollars, what are we saving?
450,000.
Is that the 450? So we're going to spend, we're going to say 400,000. Costs us 175,000 to refinance. So are we saving 575? Then we take the force against that. And is the 175 lumped into the refinancing, or are we refinancing the 175?
Effectively, yes to all of that.
So we're going to spend $88,000 to take $175,000 and amortize it across 22 years. Is that right? I'm just
The
asking.
cost of the financing would be rolled into the new note, or you can pay it out of pocket. It doesn't make any difference to me. But by including it in the new debt, then we're able to just compare what your new payments are versus your old payments. So we're encapsulating the cost of doing the refinancing in our analysis that way. And then when we compare the new debt service to the old debt service, that's where we evaluate savings from.
Because if I take $175,000 at 22 years at 4% interest, is $88,500 worth of interest on that 175. So just an interesting factoid that cuts against some of that.
Thanks.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Trying to whittle it down.
Scott, and I should have asked you this over the phone, so if I'm springing this on you, then that's okay. we can talk about it later, but since we're used to making the payment that we're making now, if we kept making the same payment, how many months or years would it knock off?
I ran a kind of a simulation of that, and it was 2 years.
Okay.
So you could do the refinancing more or less, not change your payments, and just have 2 years of less payments that you would have to make.
I like that.
So
Yeah, I mean, your sewer
If
utility.
Todd likes that from a revenue standpoint, but I like that a little bit better because it helps us with planning.
Yeah. Odds are somewhere down the line, you're going to have additional capital improvement needs. So shortening up what the amortization is on your existing debt will provide you some flexibility going forward for when you're going to need some upgrades eventually. Lowering the payments nice if your sewer utility was, having a tough go of it and you wanted to lower the payments because your operating cash flow wasn't where you needed it to be. That's not really the case for Sheldon though. You are operating in a fine condition. So typically I would see the proposal that Sam suggested wherein you would shorten up the amortization, but that's a
I'm
policy
sorry,
decision.
I'm just trying to keep up here, the second meeting. So you said that we're using the sewer revenue to pay off the debt. Is that right?
Correct.
So the yearly debt payment is how much? Approximately. In other words, I'm trying to find out, could we reduce that even further? How much money we bringing in versus what we're laying out on this particular debt?
It's like $485,000, $490,000 annually. Varies a little bit.
Is what we're bringing in?
No,
That's what your
we
payments
pay.
are.
Okay, and what is the revenue? Because we had to raise water or sewer rates, right, to pay for this?
We did. You want to know like what a year's worth of sewer?
I'm just curious, yeah.
brings in? I don't know that off the top
Okay.
of my head, sorry.
1.9-ish. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
But I think that's about-
Just curious on how the math works.
So we did the engagement agreement on the refinance already, so that process is, did we start that? We started that process.
We haven't taken any council action to move that ball forward. So you've got to go through a public hearing process, just like you would when you borrow money for any other purpose. Produce an official statement, procure a credit rating. It'll take 60 days to be in a position to actually pull the trigger and lock in these numbers. So, I'm saying it saves $450,000. Something could happen tomorrow that causes this to get way better or not be worth pursuing. I don't know, but what I can tell you is where we're at today, and bringing it forth is an option to consider.
And we don't pay costs unless the refinancing is done, right?
Certainly our fees are
Other-
that way,
other
and I would
than
say
Ayers.
that ours is probably more or less that way. You get to the point where you procure a credit rating and they're going to want to get paid something, even if the refinancing were to fall out of favor and not come through, but more often than not, by the time you get a credit rating, you're within a week or two of locking in rates. So you've got a very short window there where things could go bad on you.
Okay, thank you.
Is it safe to say paying it off early versus lowering the payment, annual payment, is a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, or is one more favorable? I know Sam has indicated that it would be easier for planning purposes to get it paid off earlier. But is that a...
Not from my perspective necessarily. So the bond market or us as underwriter don't necessarily care. It's not relevant to us, but like I said, the biggest thing is the sooner you can amortize the debt down, the sooner you're in a position to address other capital improvement needs that are going to come along the way.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that your plant's about ready to blow up or anything like that, but 20 years from now, I'm sure there'll be something. There always is.
So if we refinance for 22 years,
Mhm.
when would be the next call date on that?
It would be similar to what the 2018 note was, so 8 years out.
Okay.
Now, you can do shorter and you can do longer, and there are reasons that there are advantages to each of those, but 8 years would be pretty much standard practice. If you wanted it to be shorter, that comes at a cost, so you're going to kind of erode your savings by doing that, but you'll have the flexibility to refinance again at a sooner date. You do longer and you probably maximize savings a little bit more, but you're giving up some optionality. So 8 years is kind of a standard call window for a 20-year amortization bond.
All right.
other
Let's move on to
questions?
that last item, if we could, please.
What's up?
Can we move on to the last item? We got a lot of ground to cover yet tonight. The review of the impact.
We can, I guess. Do you have any direction for me on that subject, or
You
should
want,
I?
you want a direction?
Well, I don't want to start spending your money, so,
You mean on the sewer revenue refinance?
yeah. You could, you know, you can do anything you want here. You can decide to wait and see if rates go down and it gets even better economically, or move
I
forward
guess I
now,
was
or
looking at it
just-
as preparation for our budget discussion in a couple weeks, but if you
Yeah,
need it sooner.
I don't need an answer today. So if the answer is table it, that's fine too. But I didn't want to move on without at least asking.
And that was just me thinking. You guys are the ones that have to deal with it, so. You think discussing it at that time is the appropriate discussion?
Yeah, I think Todd and Angie and I should have a visit about the 2 years of less payments versus reducing the
Sure.
the payment.
That's
So-
just fine. We can reconvene later.
I got one more question.
Yep.
So if we decide we need to issue more bonds this year,
Right.
is there any benefit of doing both of them at the same time?
Some, they're separate in nature though.
Right.
So a revenue bond and a geo bond have to be their own items, both in terms of council action to approve, the offering document by which they're sold to investors, the way the payments are received, the pledge for repayment to investors, and the credit rating are all very much individualized. Now, you might get some economy of scale break from S&P on the credit rating, but even in that case, the analysis is individual and separate. So likely minimal savings benefit by doing both at the same time, but some.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Good question. Okay, so next item is discuss early payoff of high interest callable GEO wastewater treatment plant debt. So as noted in 2017, there was some GEO debt issued for the wastewater treatment plant construction, mostly for engineering at that time. That issue has $3.495 million outstanding at the moment. After you make your payment June 1 of 2026, that'll drop down to $3.245 million. So I brought this to Sam's attention in the context of if you have, it's not as high of an interest rate debt as what the sewer revenue bond is. So it's not.
What is it?
What's that?
What is the rate?
It ranges from 2.75% to 4.0%, depending on what year of principal you'd be talking about calling in.
So
On average, I would guess it's in the mid threes. Okay. So that compares to 4.6 on the sewer revenue debt. So I'm not here proposing that you would refinance that. To Jeff's question previously, the cost that you would incur to refinance it would more or less erode the savings down to where you would net out, not nothing, but it's not worth doing on its own. That said, if you have cash available, you can call in those bonds with cash instead of doing a refinance. So bringing that up is just an option here. You can target what you were to call in by year of principal amortization. So the last 3 years on that note are at 4%. Those 3 years total $1,005,000 in terms of principal that could be called in. Just bringing this up as an item for your consideration to the extent you've got TIF cash that you need to utilize in the upcoming budget year. That is one way you can effectively utilize it and buy down what your interest cost is on that note. So if you were to pay off the full $1.5 million with cash, you would save a total of $403,000 over the 11 years that would remain outstanding.
So on any note that we bond, is there cycles that we can pay off, or anytime after 8 years, is there cycle ability to do something each year if we decided to not do something this year and want to do something next
Good
year?
question. So once you reach the call date, you can take action at any time thereafter.
Okay.
You've got to provide 30 days notice to investors, but aside from that, there's no restriction on calling bonds at any given time throughout the year or in any amount you want. So you could pay off $5,000 today and $10,000 tomorrow or whatever you want to do. So you've got kind of unlimited flexibility.
So if we look at Sam's scenario, wanted to pay off that 2 years early, we could just make extra payments then for a period of time to give us the flexibility if later we wanted to live with that amortization schedule, the full 22 years of it?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
But there's two different things, right? Or was the other one in the same amortization? There's two different amortizations.
There are two different amortizations, yeah. But
not- yeah.
to your point, could you take the same approach on the sewer
Mhm.
revenue that you could?
Okay.
It's just there's 6.7 million outstanding. You've got less available funds, kind of maybe less
Right.
incentive to do that there, but you certainly could take that approach.
We could do the full 22. Sam wants to do 2 years shorter. We could make 2 years shorter, pay additional, but give us flexibility in the future to
All the above.
slow it down if we needed to.
So I think the question as it relates to the 2017 GO debt is, do you have excess TIF cash that you want to apply towards paying down that debt? Yes or no? If yes, it's a fairly simple process to undertake that. There's some cost associated with it, but it's very minimal. You need a resolution directing your paying agent to call the bonds, and then I think the paying agent typically charges maybe like $300 or $500 to execute a call on your behalf. But outside of that, there's no other cost.
If I might.
No.
That's a nice segue, I think, unless there's further questions into the next part, because you can do the bonding review under the next item, if that's okay.
Sure.
So on the TIF projected dollar sheet on Part C, if you open that up, Scott, and I gave this to you before the meeting, I have $640,837 in payoff of callable wastewater treatment plant TIF debt, which is right below trees and right above Highway 18.
Got it.
See it?
Mhm.
And then if you add that number, the $640,837,000 with the top highlighted green number of 2017 B general obligation wastewater plan of $364,000, those two numbers add up to $1,005,000. But if I heard you correctly today on our visit, that payment is due anyway. So really what we'd be paying off is just the 640, which is meaningful, but I wouldn't recommend to the council that we try to pay off a whole $1,005,000 with plus the 364. I think we could probably make the 640 work. Or to Jeff's point, we could do individual calls, right?
Yep.
If we wanted to do it that way.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep. You can do an individual year. You could do, again, any increment at $5,000.
So this was an effort by Angie and Todd and I, and to try to provide some options to you. Last time, what I presented was essentially a 4-page research paper, and I think it was really too much information. But it's good. It's still posted. You can chew on that later. But we thought it would be more familiar if we brought it back in a format that you have seen before. And so this was our effort to try to come up with a first plan for discussion. A couple of quick points in the interest of time. To start off with the top number on the estimated cash balance of $417,072. It's important to know how we arrived at that number, and that is we have $50,000 of holdover of tree funds, and we had $390,000 that was added, and there was some other smaller amount in there already, but we had $390,000 added for holdover of West Highway 18 improvements, because we can pay for that from remaining bond funds from the water tower Western Avenue, and this goes all the way back to the federal COVID monies that we received that paid down the East Side new water tower. And on top of that, we anticipate some additional Western Avenue savings, but we're not ready to count that until the project is done. But we do have roughly $794,000 that can be repurposed for the West Highway 18 project, which is also TIF, already in the urban renewal plan, already approved partially in the budget, and that creates a significant opportunity to add some more items to the list and also preserve roughly 800,000 down below, pending the outcome of what happens in Des Moines over the next several months.
After all that, you lost me. So is there still $1 million to pay down or $670,000 to pay down the GOs or not in that scenario?
This scenario pays down $640,837 of the $1,000,005 that we were hoping to just wipe out of GO TIF debt.
Okay.
But I don't feel comfortable throwing another 400,000 in with the list at the bottom, but you could.
Okay, interesting. And what's our ability to, the second one, which is the wastewater treatment, or there's two different GOs here, right? That are listed. One's at 4% or 4.6, we take it down to 4. The other one's averaging 3.5.
Not sure where you're looking. On here?
Well, when you were talking about,
Yeah.
there's one at 4.5 and there's one at
Yep.
an average of 3.5.
Yep.
I don't understand city government funding, but do we have some way to use that 600,000 to pay down the 4% instead of the 3.5% average one?
Yes, the 4%, yes. So you can target, let's see if I have something here that would. Not the sewer revenue, no. Oh,
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah, the TIF,
TIF dollars can only go to pay back TIF projects or TIF financing. So the 2017 GO issue was a TIF project.
Yep.
Part of the urban renewal plan designated. So
The other one's not TIF, and so we couldn't lend it from one
the
fund to
sewer
another.
revenue note, the 6.7 million that I was talking about, that's at 4.6%, correct. You cannot use TIF dollars to pay that back.
We can't lend it to do it?
No.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, make one more comment and then we can move on.
Please do.
So Todd, you helped me with this. We talked this through a little bit yesterday. So we put together a list of things that you could do if you wanted to do some additional general obligation TIF bonding. And that list is in the upper right-hand corner of the TIF sheet. Probably wouldn't be able to do all those projects because they haven't been designed yet. And so we're not sure what would all fit. And you also have several important items down at the bottom in the other requests for consideration. Some of those may be considered general corporate purpose, which has a different approval process than essential. But we were thinking that we could have the money stretch further if we did essential corporate purpose on a handful of projects. So with your blessing, we would work with Scott and come up with a list for the budget, and maybe very similar to what you see here, but we just wanted to tell you that we're thinking that would be a good path. Todd, do you have anything to add to what I just said?
Just that we're going to have to issue some debt if we want to do some projects. And the council should be fully aware that in upcoming years, we're going to have to issue more debt. You have in 2028, you have the Second Avenue project. That's going to be a $3 to $3.5 million project. Recall, we did get a $1.3 million grant for that. But if we didn't fund that project, we would lose the ability to collect that 1.3. So we know we're going to have to issue some debt for that project. It's not the same kind of debt, but we will have to issue probably a revenue note of some sorts for the water department in 2028 to pay for the last portion of our second expansion of Lewis and Clark, which we're currently been making payments via cash, incoming cash, but we will know won't be able to support all of it in cash. Seems like, Sam, I told you another project we're going to have to issue
Oh, anything, if you decide to do something with the city park plan, those type of things. So if we issue some debt this year, don't be shocked if we're coming back with several million more dollars over the next number.
Well, debt's a four-letter word. It's not so bad.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's a lot of progress happening from that end. But I just want you to be fully aware of what's coming.
I mean, functionally, when you look at how TIP is set up, you really can't use TIP without debt, so it's kind of your primary revenue generator for capital improvements.
So one project I didn't hear in any of this is the paper ground.
Well, that's the one I forgot, Tom. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to do something there. Yeah. Well, or I assume you're going to want to do something.
And that, from a dollar perspective, is even larger than Second Avenue. Right.
It ultimately depends upon how you as a council and the SCDC/development committee want to move forward. I mean, full build out could be $7+ million, right? But you certainly can phase it. And then it's just a matter of if we phase it, how quickly do we fill it? Doing it all at once is going to be your cheapest option, right? The things are only going to get more expensive. You're going to pay for more mobilizations and whatnot, but I'm not sure we're ready to stomach $7-8 million in debt in one project either. But again, that's up to the decision makers.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up, Tom. I can't believe I forgot that actually.
All right, anything other comments or questions, or can we move on? All right, Scott, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
A lot of information to
Yeah,
digest.
thank you.
Thank you.
When you're laying awake at night running this through your head, then hang on to those thoughts and bring them to our discussion in a couple weeks here. All right, moving on then, city manager's report. Anything from you, anything further from you, Tom? Sam?
I do not. Thank you.
All right. Anything from you, Todd?
No, thanks.
Tanya? Okay. Eric? All right. Ange?
No, thank you.
Micah?
No, thank you.
Batting 1,000 here. Council to my left. To my right.
Thank you.
To the past or the forward? We're going to, what happened? We're going to go to closed session next, right?
Yeah, if you have any comments you'd like to make, now is your time.
Yeah. So I just want to make this statement. I'm new to the council and will vote yes on the closed session. But I want to go on the record as saying I think we should be sharing more information about salaries and benefits we are providing to our city employees, and having these discussions in closed sessions does not do that. In fact, closed sessions often invite the public to be suspicious and skeptical of the city's actions. So I know we can go into closed session, but it doesn't mean we have to go in closed sessions for all these different discussions. We have no union negotiations. So I'm not sure why we're going to closed sessions. Not asking you to not do it. I'm just saying I'm not in favor of the closed sessions on situations where we're not negotiating anything. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right, thank you. I have no further comments. So then I'll take a motion to move into closed session.
So move.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Ostra,
Aye.
Hamel,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Eggers,
Aye.
Hunt,
Thank you. Drive safe. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, thanks.